Alright, let's get this one underway. Starting the stream off here with a cast of a Jiggy game as promised from last time. So here we go. The bottom left hand corner of the map, it is the red Terran, Jiggy. His opponent in the top right, the blue Zerg, Kenny. Just give me 1 second here. This just proves that casters can do whatever the hell they want during the first 2 minutes of the game. Get up, lock the door, get a drink. Alright. At any rate, we've got a hatch first for our Zerg player. No gas taken just yet. There it is. Should see a spawning pool. And for Jiggy, looks like a normal Reaper expansion. Could be a 2-1-1. We'll find out soon enough. I personally like to Reaper Scout, SCB Scout in my TvZs to let me know if they're going pool first. It looks like Jiggy is going to forego that. He will expand on the low ground, and he's just going to rely on his Reaper to protect him if in fact pool first is in play. Doesn't have to worry about that here though. Got a standard hatch gas pool opening. The Reaper probably will stay at home for a little while before making his way across the map. Now, a second gas here. This is interesting. Not sure what is in store. Second gas. Second depot. No factory just yet. Reaper is going to head across the map. And here's the factory. So this Marine coming out before a reactor will be able to ward off any overlords that want to poke in, which is exactly what Kenny wants to do. The Reaper looks like he wants to head over to the natural. Should probably verify if there's a third base in play as well. Seems like all Zergs are taking their third base around that 220 or so mark nowadays. One Ling goes down. If Jiggy focuses it, he can't get the second. There it is. Nice focus fire. And actually a second Marine instead of an add-on. Interesting. I actually kind of like that. Looks like Jiggy really wants to get an Overlord snipe. No Overlord here. Gotta figure it's over here, but does he want to lose that much production time on his barracks? Looks like the answer is no, and I don't blame him. Ling speed about 3/4 of the way done, so Jiggy will have to be careful with that Reaper. Always helps to keep it alive. Reactor on both the factory and on the barracks, and a starport being added. So not sure what we'll see here. I'm guessing it could be Hellion Banshee. Normally you would put the tech lab on the barracks, but it could be Hellion Banshee with just extra Marines added in, and the tech lab going straight here. I mean, for that matter, we could just see a medevac or a Viking. A lot of options here. And it looks like that's exactly what's going on here. Hellion, most likely a Banshee with the tech lab. Hype about the replay. What's up? Jiggy's in the chat. Yes, it's going to be Hellion Banshee with Marine production off of that reactored barracks, which is pretty nice. Nice scout here by Kenny, I will say that. Really, really nice scout. Found a way in. Take a look at the worker count. 36 to 31, but a round of 11 drones is going to change that. Spore crawlers going down at each base to protect from the Banshee. And I would imagine that Jiggy probably is going to go into a third base soon. I mean, he can also add extra barracks. Oh, never mind. He's going to go with the armory here. So this is going to be a pretty dedicated push. He's going to continue with Hellion production. And I would guess he would go up to at least 6, if not 8 or more. And I'll grab a third base behind it. With this particular build, probably not going to see additional racks just yet. You're going to dump all of your minerals into those Hellions and the Marines. This is going to be a very powerful push. especially if Kenny doesn't realize how dedicated it is. This armory here makes a really, really big difference. There's a huge difference in power between a standard like 4 Hellion, 1 Banshee creep clearing squad and what we see here. I actually like this build a lot. Baneling Nest is only about a quarter of the way done, so Banelings will not be available for this push. It's going to be Queen Ling against Hellbats and a Banshee. So there's no question about it. Jiggy is going to get some serious damage done here. At least taking out queens, I'm going to say. He's going to take out all the queens, probably all of the lings. The only question for me is whether or not he'll actually kill this third base. A round of 24 drones, Lair and Double Evolution Chamber are not going to help with this hold. So the queens are going down. As I said, I do think that Kenny made the right call in just abandoning this base right away. He has Banelings morphing in now. That will eventually push this away, provided he doesn't do something crazy and lose his Banelings to Banshee. That's not going to happen. Decent splits, but there are so many Banelings there. They're able to clean up the ground squad, and picking up this queen is also really nice too. So it looks like we only have 2 queens now. 2 bases, but 2 queens, and that pretty much just resets things like the creep spread. Not to mention, it's an additional mineral cost once this third base gets up. Hey, Atira. Great to see you. Yeah, I promised to start this this stream off with the cast of Jiggy's game. I'm gonna get a few ladder games in afterward. I've been playing a bit off stream the past couple of days, playing like garbage on EU, but I'm winning my games on NA, so I don't know. Anyway. Banshee is going to back off after having done considerable work. 3 barracks prior to... I wonder if this would be better. Like, if I were to play it, I'll tell you straight up, I would get the third base before these additional barracks. With that being said, the advantage of getting these extra 2 barracks prior to the third base is that stim and combat shields aren't going to be super late. So, not saying it's incorrect by any means. Just I would prefer to get my economy established first, macro up, and then push out like once combat shields and stim finish, and probably with 1-1. Heck, probably even want to have 2-2 at that point. Yeah, you probably would. But yeah, anyway, just a stylistic preference of mine. But Jiggy will benefit from the added bio, as we can see here. He's going to be able to push with no stim or combat shields just yet, but he does have 1-1. He does have to be careful though. Depends on how many Banelings. Actually, I take that back. If there were Banelings, it would be pretty dangerous. But the fact of the matter is there are no Banelings for Kenny. Widowmine doesn't get the best shot off, only 2 kills. But without Banelings here, it's tough. With Hydras, however, totally different story. Jiggy is going to have to back off. Looks like the Banshee will go down. The really nice thing about this game right now for Jiggy is the fact that his upgrades are considerably ahead. Usually Zerg is on equal upgrades or even ahead until 2-2 is complete for both players, at which point Terran will then get 3-3 first in almost all games. So the upgrade advantage is nice. Worker count is a bit low. He's going to have to rectify that. So no SCVs in production. That is going to slow him down a little bit. His third base is on location. He's only on 47 SCVs, so that's like slightly more than a full 2 base saturation. Combat shields and stim are finished. 2-2 also about to complete. And the creep spread isn't really that far, just sort of eking out now toward the halfway mark. And that's only on one side too. So if Jiggy is able to execute a push on the left side, for example, lots of spines there, but it's not going to be seen until quite late. Now, with that being said, this is a pretty massive swell of Lingbane Hydra. I'm not sure what the tank count is right now. Actually, only one tank. So this could be a precarious position for Jiggy should Kenny decide to come in here and attack. I believe there will be a second tank out by the time it hits. There's the second tank right here. +3 attack has started for Jiggy, so his upgrades are going to be in good position. Widowmine is worthless, no surprise there. Nice idea behind the attack, but I don't know if it can work through the choke point. Good job by Jiggy pulling his Marines back behind the tank and does push us away. Really good positioning. So the Zerg army filtered in through here and through here, and that's how Jiggy was able to stand tall. More Hydras joining up, but there are a lot of medevacs here. You cannot fight. If the medevacs weren't there, the Hydras probably would have taken that, even at the upgrade disadvantage. But with the medevacs, there's no question whatsoever. So both players back off, reset. 5th base is just now finishing up for Kenny. He's at 72 drones. Looks like he just made a structure, but yeah, 72 drones. Pretty good spot there. For some Zerg players, that would be enough. Other Zerg players will go up into the 80s. So we'll see how Kenny wants to play it. And for Jiggy, he is now morphing his planetary fortress in. And it looks like he's going to have to hold another Lingbane Hydra attack. So it's going to be 2-2 against 2-2. The Hydras, of course, are at that standard upgrade disadvantage. Jiggy, again, is going to try to run back. He positioned his Marines really well. I just don't know if there's enough bio here to hold. In fact, I do know. The answer is no. There's not enough bio here to hold, and the planetary fortress is going to be killed right before it finishes. The only good news for Jiggy, and it's not very good at that, is the fact that he escaped with his medevacs. There are 2 tanks here. If the medevacs are able to come back and join back up with his army, he will have a chance to hold off this attack, but it is going to be difficult. +3 attack is a little ways off. No +3 armor started just yet. I'm guessing Jiggy will probably want to remake his 4th base prior to getting that +3 armor. +3 attack is the most important upgrade anyway. Huge, huge swath of Lings coming across the map. Oh, and it looks like Kenny's going to back off. I'm not sure. Okay, he just wanted to regroup with his Lings. He is going to try to push in now. Tank gets off a couple of volleys. I'm not sure why Kenny is being so indecisive with his Hydras, which should not be up front, by the way. He needs to get the melee units out front. That's what he's doing now. After pulling back a couple of times, he has a semi-surround, a small group of Lings. 1 tank goes down. If the Hydras focus this orbital, it will go down as well. There are, however, a lot of tanks. Orbital Command does go down, but these additional tanks are just enough to hold for Jiggy. It was a really, really close engagement. Worth mentioning is the fact that Adrenal Glands and 3-3 for the melee units are on the way for Kenny. And he does have a 6th base up. He's mining from his 5th over here. Is he oversaturated somewhere? Just slightly there. So saturation is actually pretty good. His creep spread, though, has really been lackluster. If he was spreading creep this whole time, I think Jiggy would be in a very, very bad spot. Not saying he's in a good spot right now, because I don't think that he is. He's at a disadvantage in almost every way. Once 3-3 hits, he will basically be at a disadvantage in every way. Ultralisks are the choice. Not too confident in that choice. It's not that they'll be bad. Like, they'll definitely be good, but I think in most scenarios, Broodlords are better. This map does have a fair amount of choke points, some of which are kind of large. For example, like, this is technically a choke, but it's pretty large. Same with here. The only small choke points really are coming through here. That's pretty much it. Yeah, anywhere where the rocks are. But yeah, so it's not that Ultras will be bad here, but as I said, I think going straight to Broods would be the better choice. Lings do get past, and it looks like they're going to be able to take out 1 tank. Every tank pickoff is important because that's going to make the Hydralisks even more valuable. Not to mention the fact that tanks are, I mean, they're not bad against Ultras. They're not very good, but they're not bad against Ultras if they can be behind some structures or behind army like this. Now, the reason why I was also calling for Kenny to go straight up to Broodlords is when you know you've taken out the 4th base here, you've taken out the 3rd base here, and you've got this base covered, you know for a fact that Terran does not have a good economy. you are not going to have to deal with a frontal assault anytime soon. Just harassing attacks like this, which are effective, by the way. But so with all of that in mind, you should feel safe to go straight up to blue kills. Anyway, we do have the base actually being taken out by this double drop. That's a really, really nice pickoff for Jiggy, and he also is able to pull the Zerg units into a choke point again. Jiggy's positioning in this game has just been far superior to his opponents, and that's really been what has kept him in the game to this point. Jiggy gets his double drop off into the main, kills 2 queens. Again, a really nice pickoff, only 3 queens here. That's part of the reason why the creep spread is so lackluster. Huge gas bank, actually. It's pretty surprising to see a huge gas bank for the Zerg player. Another base taken out by the same double drop, which is now taking out 2 bases and 2 queens in the main. Jiggy is just being as annoying as possible. These guerrilla tactics are really his only chance to get back in the game, and I think he has managed to do it. I think he has managed to claw his way back to being pretty much even. I don't think he has his +3 armor, but again, that's not the biggest deal. +3 attack is the more important upgrade. His 4th base is complete. He hasn't yet floated it over to the location. He only has 41 SCVs. Now, with 3 orbitals, yeah, you've got your mules, but still probably a bit lower than he would like. And yep, there we go. We see SCVs being made 4 at a time now. Would like to see him go up to around 60. And from there on out, he can just make army. Single drop comes in to the 5th base of Kenny, going to get some drone kills. This is a really nice pick off again for Jiggy, and he's simultaneously bringing the double drop over here to the potential 6th, killing drones just for free, like it's going out of style here. Kenny is now, he's almost dipping below 60 workers, which is not where he wants to be, that's for sure. The base is killed by a single drop. That is a very painful loss to take for the Zerg, and especially when the medevac and the units get away in both cases. So Jiggy has just fought tooth and nail from a position where he was undeniably behind and pretty much on the verge of losing outright, and his drop play has single-handedly brought him back into the game. I mean, if he does that again, if he denies a base again, he could arguably be in the lead. Looks like, oh, the Hydras weren't fully upgraded that whole time. That is a bit painful for Kenny. At any rate, he's going to press in here and then think better of it immediately. And this goes back to what I was talking about before, with Jiggy's positioning being superior to Kenny's throughout this game. He has consistently been able to fight behind walls and against melee units in choke points. That is never how you want to fight with a melee army. Your melee units need space, they need surface area. Building armor and +3 armor, both on the way for Jiggy, who is heading into that late game phase. He still hasn't really mined from a 4th base location. Looks like he wants to poke out and draw the Zerg army into the same choke point again, and thus far it is actually working. Some free damage onto these Ultralisks, which is a really, really big deal. Jiggy is just outmaneuvering his opponent here consistently. If we take a look at the resources lost tab, that is reflected quite clearly. Bad news for Jiggy is that he's completely mined out of his main. He is just about completely mined out of his natural, and he is about halfway mined out at his 3rd. So even once he starts mining from here, he's going to need to mine from a 5th base location almost immediately thereafter. Good news, however, is that he is about to hit max, after which he'll be able to start banking up. He has really good sensor tower coverage, should see all attacks incoming. He's going to split off half of his army. Oh, no! To deal with the Flings, but he loses 2 medevacs over here to the Hydras. Even with that being said, those 2 medevacs killed about 3 bases, a couple of queens, and probably some other units as well. It's about time they got taken out, I've got to say. But I hear Spire Tech is pretty good for stopping things like that. Planetary Fortress has completed, And it looks like Jiggy is going to come over here and defend this vital 4th base. I'm guessing Kenny probably wants to send these wings in at the same time. Now this base might be focused down, but the question is, what will Kenny lose for it? The Hydras are, in fact, focusing the planetary, but he doesn't even finish the job, and that was probably the worst decision possible. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but you have to make a decision to either take out the base or fight the army, but you have to commit to one or the other. Jiggy did a fantastic job getting his tanks into position behind this terrain blocker, so they got off tons of volleys for free. 28 kills, 29, and count 27 on this one. So these tanks are putting in serious work. But if you're going to commit that heavily to the attack and get the planetary fortress in the red, you absolutely have to finish the job. Either that, or you never attack the planetary and you fight the army the whole time. Now, even if that was the case, Jiggy's positioning was really good with the tanks here, and I'm not sure Kenny would have been able to defeat that army. But so my point is, if he's going to go after the planetary and try to play the starvation game, then you've got to take that planetary fortress out. You've got to focus it down. So nearly a 10,000 resource discrepancy in the resources lost tab. This game is just trending more and more in Jiggy's favor. Now this is the problem that I mentioned before. He is now virtually mined out of his 3rd base, so he's essentially mining on 1 base right now. Once he lands this, that will provide some much needed income. At the same time, it looks like Kenny wants to go for the more difficult location to attack. He is going to take out most of the army. Jiggy does pull back to the safety of his planetary and the tanks, and it looks like Kenny is actually going to give him at least another Ultralisk here. It's just really, really clear to me that Jiggy is the superior player in terms of the army control and the unit positioning. It's almost every single fight Jiggy has pulled Kenny into a far inferior position. And Kenny is just bleeding units. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Now we're up to about 11,000. I'm sorry, yeah, about 11,000 resource discrepancy. Lings are going to swing by and try to attack into the 4th, or I guess technically it's the 5th base of Jiggy. But he's got that well covered. Just heard a load up. I'm not sure where it was. Where is that medevac? Anyway, so Jiggy is sitting back, defending. He probably wants to get out on the map pretty soon. Not sure where the scan is going down. There it is. Sees that this base has been retaken. That should cue him to go off and attack it. There we go. Double drop, heads over to the bottom right-hand side of the map. Kenny does have units in position to defend this. Should be able to defend that without much of a problem. Lings are quickly repelled by this wall here. Epic wall. Makes me proud. And the double drop, as predicted, is pushed away. 1 medevac goes down. Looks like only 1 medevac. Still no Spire Tech, by the way. More Ultralisks. I really think that Spire transition was necessary a long time ago, especially with this gas bank. The worker count is not very high. And interestingly enough, Kenny is actually kind of getting starved out on minerals. That's not usually the case with Zerg. It's usually gas that they lack if it's a battle of attrition. At any rate, the Vipers kind of run away and leave the rest of the army abandoned. Nice blinding clouds do go down on 3 of the tanks, and that is critical splash damage for Jiggy. But once again, Kenny makes the exact same mistake. This is it's really killing him. Jiggy with the solid positioning on his tanks. And Kenny is just extremely indecisive. He gets the planetary down, it was almost in the red, and he backs off. So he's in a battle of attrition, but he's playing as though it's a full econ game where he doesn't want to commit his army fully. He just has to go for that kill. Even then, he's still losing a lot of units for it. But as it is now, he's coming out in the worst possible scenario where he's losing a big chunk of his army due to Jiggy's positioning with his tanks here, and he's not denying the economy of his opponent. Worst case scenario. Jiggy, please don't let this burn down. There we go. Thank you. I'm saying that as someone who has absolutely let my orbital commands burn down before. You just don't realize that that they're on fire. Yeah, it happens. So double drop just chilling again up here in the top center, probably waiting to pick this base off. And it looks like, so finally Kenny is making what I believe is the better decision, and that's to attack an equally vital base, arguably more so since it's fresher, that is not a planetary fortress. Everybody look at the rocks. Yep, there they are, and we're off. Base is about to be denied. And once again, Jiggy just picks up and heads out. The whole army is apparently F2'd back to deal with this. I kind of feel like a jerk for backseat gaming so much, but you just have to wonder why Kenny has not gone for Spire Tech yet at this point. He's been on Hive for 10 minutes or so, and he's been getting eaten alive by Jiggy's drops. Like, you've got to get some Corruptors out at that point. Reminds me of those pro games when the pros just refuse to make a turret or a cannon or, a spore crawler, whatever the case may be. And the reasoning, the pro level reasoning is, well, that's it's 100 mineral cost when I should be able to defend it with my army. It's like, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, if you're losing like 25 workers to a single Banshee or to a single Oracle, like, you probably should have made like at least one static defense. In this case, like, get a Spire, bro. Make a couple of Corruptors, put them on patrol around here, and like, trust me, it will help you out. Anyway, actually have the much feared double planetary fortress with turrets, and I actually like this a lot because this is how you slow down the Zerg from advancing, and you do this. You get out ghosts, you start poking your bio army out like this, and or poking the ghosts out. You look for snipes. You look to turtle up just like Jiggy is doing here, and then you start spreading nukes around the map. So this is Terran's best bet in the late game now, especially after the Raven nerf. Looks like we'll probably get another planetary fortress here. Now, with this being said, Jiggy will have to get another base here, and he'll need to take this base as well. Even though he is really far ahead in the resources lost, he's going to have to take at least one more base this game, preferably two. So the question is, will we see nukes? I'm sorry. Did not mean to hit that tab. Will we see nukes? Where is that go? There we go. Yes, we will see nukes. We absolutely will see nukes. This is what I'm talking about right here. So once again, Jiggy is going to be able to fight his opponent in the choke point. Just perfect positioning from Jiggy. Good abduct from Kenny. I don't think it's going to be enough. There's a huge concave here for the bio, and this is exactly what I was talking about. You get the ghosts behind these walls. The structures slow down the advancement of the Zerg army, and you fight them in choke points. So picture perfect here, execution from Jiggy, and bad news for Kenny is nukes are next. Jiggy is still nearly maxed out, and Kenny is struggling to hit 100 supply now. This is actually insane. He's been out-traded by almost 20,000 resources in a game where he was on, it was, I believe, 4 bases to 2, and was on the verge of winning. He was super close to just putting Jiggy away, and Jiggy fought back with drops on both sides of the map and somehow managed to hold on in clutch engagement after clutch engagement here at his 3rd and then later at his 4th. Hey, what's up? Take some notes. How you doing, man? I'll read the rest of the chat after this cast, guys. Just giving Jiggy the full benefit of my attention. He spent good currency on this replay cast, so I'm gonna do my best for him. First nuke goes down. Please land, baby. Please land. Oh yeah, he's gonna get this Hydra too and maybe damage. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. I love it. Totally unbiased casting here. I'm not rooting for the Terran or anything, I swear. More nukes are going down. We got one over here. One over here. Which one is going to hit first? Let's try to get both. Boom, and yes! Oh my goodness, this is my favorite thing in the game to watch. Watching nukes land, especially on worker lines, is like the most satisfying thing in the game. I think the only thing that's more satisfying is that super rare scenario when you can actually land the nuke on the full army. I've only done it a couple of times in my life, but watching a full mineral line get wiped out is just fantastic. Another nuke, 2 drones are going to try to fight it off. I don't think they're going to be able to do so in time against a plus 3 armor bio unit. Some more kills added to this ghost's count, and Jiggy is going to send up another nuke on the left-hand side. I don't know where how many overseers does Kenny have? Now, if he has 1 overseer, which is hanging out at his natural, that is not how you do it. Not at all. And Jiggy is just relentlessly pounding Kenny into submission. Lands on a hatchery. No drones were there. My guess is we're probably going to see Kenny tap out pretty soon. It looks like he is just lost in these deep waters, and Jiggy is running him ragged. Has another base about to be taken. And if we take a look again here, yeah, almost 20,000 resources lost discrepancy. Pretty hard to win a game. No matter what race you play, no matter how the game went, if you were out-traded by 20,000 resources, it's nearly impossible to win. So Jiggy has just been getting edge after edge after edge after starting out the game considerably behind. He had a great push, which got him ahead. Kenny fought back, counterattacked, got way ahead, and then Jiggy just slowly out-traded him for the rest of the game to this point. This ghost now up to 19 kills. A couple of his bros heading out to join in the fun. I was about to make another analogy, but it wouldn't have been family friendly, so I will resist the urge. Anyway, just say these boys are tag teaming Kenny. Just put it that way. Absolutely destroying what remains of Kenny's economy. Though with that being said, he actually has a bank. I think his problem is he is just, as I said before, just being run ragged all around the map. This nuke will be denied. But it just, I mean, honestly, it just seems like Kenny doesn't know what to do in this situation. And to be fair to him, it's not too easy. When you have multiple nukes coming at you, it's one of the most stressful scenarios in the game. These drones are actually going to go through sensor tower range. If Jiggy would see that, that would actually be hilarious. Looks like he just misses it. I mean, because that would be a huge pickoff in a game where the Zerg is on 47 workers at 33 minutes in. If you're able to pick off however many drones this is, I'm not going to count, we'll say 10 or so, that would be a really big deal. Now, Jiggy, for his part, is actually going to free up some supply, and I do like this, because with his mules, he doesn't need these workers nearly as much as Kenny needs his. Another nuke is about to go down, and Kenny's army is now posturing for an attack. It looks like he totally misses this nuke. That's basically the nail in the coffin. Again, he still has a bank, so he's not going to tap out yet, but at the same time, that pretty much guarantees that he is not going to be able to get his economy up again. He really can't afford to be making drones now when he needs to start taking out Jiggy's army, and he needs to do so repeatedly because Jiggy has a bank. Jiggy is maxed right now. He has a bank, and he has great defensive positions set up. Jiggy is now finally taking this base. I don't think this base was mined from too heavily. Now, this is Jiggy's base, technically speaking, or I should say it should be Jiggy's base. The only thing, really, that Kenny has going for him is that he has mined this base out, and he has mined a bit from this base. However, with that being said, that is not worth 27,000 resources. So, Jiggy is just severely out-trading Kenny in this one. And losing larva like that isn't going to help anything. This is actually kind of sad to watch, I'm not going to lie. He's getting a neural parasite now. I don't know what he hopes to do with that. He's going to neural ghosts. I really don't know. But it's actually kind of sad to watch Kenny running around the map with his entire army trying to deal with these ghosts, launching nuke after nuke after nuke. I mean, he's just very clearly lost in this scenario. And Jiggy is abusing the hell out of him for it, which I love to see. So, Kenny has now maxed out. Doesn't have much of an economy at all. Hydra's doing the thing in there. Oh, dude, if this lands, I would be so freaking ecstatic. I don't think so, though, because there are a bunch of overseers here. Got lots and lots and lots of nukes. Hits right before the drone gets up there to make that, so that's a bit unfortunate. This base will be taken out right? No, actually no. Main army is going to come over here and defend it, but this base is being perpetually nuked. Jiggy is going to come up and probably nuke this one as well. There are 6 nukes being remade. I think there are there 6? There must be a 6th Ghost Academy somewhere, right? I'm going to find it. I swear, there it is. Yep. So 6 Ghost Academies. Zerglings are not going to take out a planetary fortress with building armor. It just won't happen. The interesting thing is that for probably about the past 10 minutes, maybe even more, Kenny has been relegated to his side of the map. He's just been running around frantically trying to defend nukes. Has not launched a meaningful attack in a while now. Jiggy gets off a snipe. He's going to snipe, run back to the defensive position. Tanks and planetary fortresses are going to tell Kenny to stay in his lane. This is my territory, bro. And more nukes incoming. Cancel on the hatchery. He actually could have let that go. The nuke won't kill it, but honestly, I don't even blame him because he's probably not going to pull the whole army over there to defend it anyway, so you might as well just give it up. This is actually one of the biggest discrepancies I've seen in a game this long. It looks like another nuke is going to go down here on this base. This is fantastic. Getting the full... Oh man, he was just barely in range of the nuke. Getting the full nuke meme treatment, as Jiggy might say. He's all about those nuke memes. I know he likes when I use them. I love to see it. All right, infestors. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there isn't an easy answer in this scenario, but for whatever reason, Kenny is just averse to Spire Tech. I think probably Broodlords would be the only possible answer. Even then, it's not going to be easy. But I don't really know what infestors with Neural Parasite are going to do. You're not going to neural every ghost, and even if you do, what are you going to do with that? Start sniping Marines or something? I guess theoretically, if you neural... Actually, no. If you neural a ghost, you can't use a nuke. Right? Because the Ghost Academy has the nuke. The Ghost only calls it down. So yeah, you wouldn't even be able to use the nuke. I have no idea what the Neural Parasite is going to accomplish here. It's actually interesting though. I never thought about that before. But yeah, so Neural Parasiting the Ghost would only be good for snipe or EMP. In this case, only snipe. But like I said, what are you going to do? Start sniping Marines or Marauders? It's not going to be worth it. Double nuke on this base might take it out. It's going to be close. Looks like the Ghost will provide just enough follow-up DPS. And these infestors are doing basically what I expect them to do in this scenario, and that is nothing. There's really no chance for them to do anything. This base will go down quite easily, but honestly, it's not even that important to Jiggy. Granted, it would be really nice. He doesn't have an economy. He does not have an economy right now, and he certainly can't let Kenny mine from this. But as long as he has this defensive posture and just keeps taking out Kenny's bases, ultimately it's not really going to matter that much. He will want to retake this for sure, but I guess what I'm saying is it's not urgent right now. It wasn't as though that was a critical blow. Looks like the Viper is going to abduct the Ghost, which interrupts the nuke. Hey, today I learned. I actually didn't know that either. That kind of sucks. Because even if you... That's actually really funny, because if you attack a Ghost, it doesn't interrupt a nuke. It'll interrupt the snipe, but not a nuke. So, if you abduct it, it interrupts the nuke. For those who didn't know. Like I said, I just found that out. Looks like Jiggy is feeling confident enough now to push out and put the finishing touches on this game. With that being said, I mean, it's actually going to be tough. This is not going to be an easy engagement. It's going to come down to positioning. You know, if we've learned anything from this game, it's that Jiggy's positioning and general army control is much better than his opponent's. Nice fumble, the looks of that. Nice fumble from Kenny. However, kind of leaving his investors there to die afterward is far from optimal. And speaking of far from optimal, when you have melee units behind your range units, and I mean literally almost every single melee unit behind a ranged unit there, that's the best guaranteed way to lose an engagement. So once again, it's almost prophetic. I said Jiggy has shown that his army control is far superior to his opponents, and then once again in that engagement, he proves it. Now, as crazy as this sounds, wait, what the hell? Oh my goodness! As crazy as this sounds, I need to go back to this game. I was just going to say, this base here, being taken out does end up, or does leave Jiggy in an urgent position after losing his whole army here. But like, first of all, what an insane game. Thank you, Jiggy, for sending that one in. Like that was actually an awesome game. That was really exciting. And I thought for sure that you had this game won. Like I was just ready to call it. I actually I want to rewind. I don't even know how to rewind with this overlay. So yeah, I wanted to rewind because the engagement was actually won here by Jiggy. He killed off all of those infestors. He killed pretty much all of the important units from Kenny. However, it was the pursuit with the tanks pursuing the units up here that led to Jiggy's undoing. So check this out. This is insane. This is not every day that you're going to see this. Jiggy outtraded his opponent by almost 20,000 resources in the end, and it really did come down to the fact that Kenny was able to mine from this base, almost completely mine it out, and he mined a bit from this base. Jiggy was not able to mine too much from this base, and again, didn't get anything from either of these bases. So basically, Kenny was able to trade so inefficiently, um, but mine just enough to be able to win the game. That game was nuts. I was seriously just about to call that for Jiggy, like including right up until that final engagement there. What a sick game, though. And yeah, Jiggy, you definitely, could have or should have won in some spots, but it can be hard to make those calls in the game. That was a sick game, though. And thanks for